What if I told you that there's an AI that outsmarts the free ChatGPT version and it's entirely free and open source? In this video, we'll take a closer look at Mistral AI. I will show you how to run some pretty cool AI models for free and help you decide for yourself if the buzz is justified. Mistral AI has been all over the news recently, mostly because of two reasons. After a recent founding round, the French-based startup is now valued at $2 billion, and also recently they released a new AI model that matches or even outperforms OpenAI's GPT-3.5 in performance. Not only that, but this AI model from Mistral AI is also open source and anyone can use it for free. Now, before you jump off your chair in joy, there are a few things you need to know. These AI models are not only huge in size, like 20-30 gigabytes of data, but they also need a lot of memory and computing power to run. So in this video, I will try to explain in plain terms what Mistral AI is and how to get started with it. Let me know in the comments below why you are interested in Mistral AI in the first place. First of all, what you need to know is that Mistral AI currently does not have a product similar to ChatGPT that you can just use in your browser. So there is no quick way of getting started with it. Even their website looks like it has just been launched. If you click on Getting Started, you will only find some info about their APIs, which we will also discuss in a second. However, if you have a reasonably powerful computer, for a quick test I would recommend installing Ollama, which is quite a nice tool that allows you to easily download and start different large language models. You can use it with macOS and Linux, and soon a Windows option will also be available, but in the meantime you can just use WSL to install it. By the way, links to everything I am talking about can also be found in the video description. Installing Ollama is as easy as brewing a French press coffee. After this, you just need to search for the model you wish to use, and the command you need to run will be displayed. I am searching here for Mistral to find the latest model they have released. This model is about 26 GB in size, so empty your trash bin and grab a cup of coffee while this is downloading. And voila! Just like that, you have a powerful AI at your disposal, all thanks to Mistral AI. The interface is nothing fancy, but gets the job done. My Mac is getting a bit older and needs an upgrade, so the performance has been subpar. This model requires 48 GB of RAM and I only have 32. I don't know what is going on with the specs. Probably I need to ask Elon Musk what they're using at SpaceX to launch satellites or something. If you have the same issues as I do, maybe try a smaller model such as Mistral 7B. Anyway, for me, it is not really a viable option to have these models just running in the background on my computer. And Ollama is just a CLI client with a nice icon, but not a fully working GUI. But if you're looking for a GUI that you can run locally, you may want to take a look at LM Studio or build your own UI with Gradio and Python. Anyway, another way to get access to Mistral AI models is through their official API. Currently, it is still invitation-based, but I was lucky and got one just 4 days after requesting it. For calling the API, I'm using Postman, and I will also add a link to the collection I've used in the description below. I've compared the Mistral AI API using the model Mistral Small with the GPT-3.5 Turbo model against a list of queries, and I've noticed that the Mistral AI model performs quite well. Transitioning from an OpenAI model to a Mistral AI model is quite easy since they almost use the same data structures, which I think is designed to make the transition to their APIs as smooth as possible. Also, the prompts I've used required only minor adjustments to get the expected results. Now, I'm no expert in benchmarking these models, so the only comparison I've made was by taking some prompts that I'm using on a day-to-day basis and feeding them into the models from Mistral AI. I did notice inconsistencies in the response times. Some responses were very fast, even faster than OpenAI, while others needed a few extra seconds. In my opinion, the models are good. Is it cheaper to use Mistral AI compared to OpenAI? Yes and no. It really depends on which models you use. Models such as Mistral Tiny or Mistral Small will be cheaper than making calls against GPT 3.5. However, we might be comparing apples with peaches here. You can use a cheaper model if, and this is a big if it produces the results you expect. The Mistral Tiny model is really dirt cheap, and I already found good use cases for it in some of my projects. But if we presume that Mistral Small has the same performance as GPT 3.5 Turbo, then yes, using it will be just slightly cheaper. Even Mistral Medium is cheaper than GPT-4 Turbo, but it has not quite reached the performance level of GPT-4, so be careful when comparing the two. Let's shift gears and talk for a second about the open source aspect of the models released by Mistral AI. Now, I don't want to open this particular Pandora box, but I feel I'm forced to because it seems to be an important selling point. Now, open source AI models are nothing new, with Meta, aka Facebook, leading so far the race with their Llama 2 model. Just for comparison, you cannot download and run AI models from OpenAI, such as GPT 3.5 or GPT-4. This might come as a surprise for a company that has the word open in its name, but anyway, many claim that the open source models from Mistral AI are more open compared to the ones from Meta, in a sense that you can do anything you want with them, and I tend to agree. On the other hand, they are not fully open in a sense that the models have been trained on closed source proprietary data. Apart from this, not all their AI models are open, like the model behind Mistral Medium, which you can only get through the API. So here's my take on this. Obviously, the AI sector is very competitive. Considering that most companies you hear about are based in the United States, it is good to see that there is still a bit of innovation going on in Europe, at least until we manage to bury everything in paperwork with legislation similar to GDPR. Now, currently, Mistral AI is only for nerds, and with no consumer-oriented products like a ChatGPT clone, I don't see wide adoption happening soon. You will also notice that the naming strategy behind the models released by Mistral AI is quite confusing, with names such as Mistral 7B or Mixtral 8x7B, which can be quite confusing if you're just getting started. Oh, and when you're using the API, the models are called Mistral Tiny, Small, and Medium, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I think OpenAI does a much better job at naming things and ensuring consistency. You don't need to be a nerd to know that GPT-4 is an improvement from GPT 3.5. ChatGPT is only about 1 year old at the time of this recording, so having a relatively new startup manage to build LLMs that match and even exceed GPT 3.5 in performance is impressive. Where I see the most potential for Mistral AI is getting a foundational model and fine-tuning it with your own data. Many companies are not happy to share the secrets, and being able to run a powerful model locally could be a big selling point. While these models released by Mistral AI still have a lot of safety nets in place, uncensored versions of them are already in the wild. And since the license of these models is very permissive, you can use them commercially without paying anything to Mistral AI. Which also brings the question, is Mistral AI a non-profit or something? And if not, how are they making money? What's important to note is that not all Mistral AI's models are free and open source. This can be a strategy designed to draw some attention on the company and their models, but who knows? Mistral AI's best models will probably only be accessible via an API. It is already the case right now. However, OpenAI has constantly been cutting the costs of using their APIs, and it looks like it's gonna be a tight race. Apart from this aspect, these open source licenses could change in the future and be more restrictive, and organizations of a certain size using these models could be asked to pay for a license. C'est la vie. So to conclude, I think that Mistral AI has great potential to be a decent competitor for OpenAI, at least in terms of the quality of their AI models. On the other hand, it will be hard to draw attention to a more end-user friendly product with so many alternatives to ChatGPT already around. Anyway, with so many things happening in the AI space right now, it is possible that in 6 months from now, nobody will remember who Mistral AI is if they don't keep innovating and making the headlines. So what do you think about Mistral AI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And for comparison, OpenAI is valued at 100 billion US dollars, while Mistral AI is only valued at 2 billion US dollars. Mind-boggling numbers anyway, but it's clear that OpenAI has much more cash at hand for developing even better models and winning this race. So, will Mistral AI be the David to OpenAI's Goliath, or just another shooting star in the AI cosmos? Subscribe to find out. And if you like this video, then really like it by clicking that like button. Au revoir mes amis.